Welcome back, beautiful souls, to a new episode. Today we're going to talk about change. That word, change. Many people don't like those things. They hate change because change is uncomfortable. But you cannot receive a new life, a new gift, while you're still clinging to old habits. When God gives us a new blessing, He requests from us change. And many of us were not ready to do that. I remember when God asked me to elevate, I said, yes, I want to do more. I want to grow my business. I want to create different things. I was all excited because many of us, we want that. We want to grow our business. We want clients. We want it to look like everything is more. Abundance is here. But abundance requires change. And sometimes that change means taking things away. Friendships, comfortable routines, things that you used to do, but now you cannot continue to do those things. You have to shift your energy, your mindset, the way you carry yourself. Not as a negative thing. Many of us think this is something negative, especially when we have something and out of nowhere it gets taken. We get upset when in business something shuts down or a blessing gets taken. We get upset and we get angry even with God and say, why are you taking that from me? You don't know how much I worked for that, and now you just remove that. In my case, I asked God, why are you removing so much from me? And I realized that He was not removing things from me just because. He was removing things to make the trip lighter. Because when you go on a vacation, if you go somewhere closer, you go on a car, you pack so many bags, a lot of luggage, and you even take a chair, take your dogs, because it's closer, the trip is closer, so you can take a lot of stuff. But when you go on vacation out of the country or on an airplane, you cannot take so many bags. You have to pack lighter, what you really, really need. And not everybody can go with you. Only certain people can go with you. And if you want to take everybody, the cost is going to be a lot higher than if it was just you or if it was just those people that they really, really need to go with you. And that's what we really need to think about. Do you really have the time, the energy to afford to take everything with you? Because transformation requires space, requires time, requires energy. And with all the noise that you're bringing from your past, you cannot do transformation. You can create more pain with that. You can expand your pain. You cannot transform. And that's why many people said if you have money, you have everything. Because what they do is instead of focusing on transforming themselves, they're focusing on paying for things to numb their pain. They're focusing on using the money to numb what they don't want to address. Because you cannot go on expansion while you still attach to your past or what you used to be or with the people that you used to hang out. And I'm not saying you gotta tell your friends, you know what, I can't talk to you no more, we can't be friends. But what I'm saying is that you really need to start looking into, if I want to go higher, what I must let go. It's not a choice. It's something that it doesn't add value anymore into where I want to go. And not because you're being mean, but because you want to help these people, because you can be that motivation for that person to continue to strive for more. And for some of the people, you will be, but others cannot go that higher with you. You cannot stay down just because somebody doesn't want to go higher. You must continue your journey. And especially on our community, in the Hispanic community, we have so much loyalty to our ancestors, to our uh, parents, to our brothers and sisters, that if they want to stay there, I must stay there. And you know why I'm telling you that? Because I was one of them. Because I did not realize that in my actions, subconsciously, I was being loyal to poverty. I was being loyal to a scarcity. And I didn't realize that. And the reason why I was doing that, because I felt guilty of leaving my parents behind, because that's how I visualized it in my head, and that's how my mind told me that I was doing things, that I was leaving them behind. I was leaving my family behind, and I was not being part of them anymore. But when I start healing those traumas, I realize I'm not leaving them behind. I'm actually going ahead to help them in a bigger way, to show them the path, to show them that it is possible, that healing can happen, that we can have what we want, that God is ready for us, that I was actually open those doors that they believed that they were locked. I was not condemning them. I was not keeping them in the back, that I was actually helping them heal. And that's what we need to remember, that sometimes we think that we have to change and change. I don't like it because that means I'm not going to be comfortable. And that's true. You're not going to be comfortable. And you need to be concerned when you're comfortable, because that means you are reach a part of your life where you just stop. You can stop, you can take a break, you can rest, but continue on, because you're open doors for others, for the ones that are walking behind you. You are being that person who's freeing others by you keep walking. And when I realized that, I was like, no, I can't stop. Not because I'm doing it from the mind of scarcity, but I don't want to stop. Before it used to be, I can't stop. Now it's, I don't want to stop, because I want to show this to my family, but I also want to show it to my brothers, to my sisters, to my mom, to my dad. That was an illusion of living in scarcity. God gave us everything. There was no reason why we stay back, sitting, waiting on somebody else to came and be our savior. We believe we have a savior, but don't wait and sit down and say, just because I have a savior, I need to sit down and not do anything. Take action, because you have a savior, but you also are a savior for someone else that is coming behind you. Start looking at your environment, what habits people have, and what thoughts they have that they're sharing with you. And those thoughts and those habits, they no longer serve you. Those habits, they don't serve you where you want to go. Release those habits, release those um, thoughts, release those people, and release them with grace, with thankfulness, because those people help you to be the person that you are today, and they brought you all the way here. But if they cannot keep going with you, don't make them. Don't force them to go with you if they're not ready yet, because everyone has their own path. Their path is not like yours. So you have to be respectful of their time. Upgrade your mindset. Don't speak from past pain. Speak from your future self, where it brings you joy, where it brings you motivation, where it makes you want to conquer the world, that you know you're unstoppable. Because if you start thinking so much about the pain and what somebody did to you, how your grandmother treats you, your dad, your mom, and you're waiting on them to ask you for forgiveness, you're gonna keep waiting there. It might happen, it might not happen, and you're not in control of that. What you're in control is of what you think. Forgiving yourself, and when you forgive yourself, you forgive everyone else. You're no longer waiting for somebody to tell you, I'm sorry, because you already know who you are. You're not waiting for somebody to tell you you can do it or you cannot do it, because you already know what's possible for you. Create a space and put away all the things that they no longer connect with you, with your energy. Say no to what's familiar. Make a room for what's divine. Make that space for the connection between you and the Creator. Before I started this journey, I have a house that it had few rooms. In every room had something. It was no space for me. And I even thought maybe one day I need to open a space for meditation, but I don't know when is that gonna be. When I start walking into this journey of healing, I start taking things off. Not just out of my mind, but in the physical, in my home. I got rid of much stuff. I remember going through every single closet in my house, because pruning is proof of purpose. You know your purpose, you know where you're going, you have clarity now. So I went through all the closets, I went through every single room, I changed things around my house. I remember we did painting, we changed a lot of things, and I finally had a room for a meditation room. And it was a whole space. I had an office now. And before, I thought one day I'm gonna have an office. One day I'm gonna have a meditation room. One day my house is not gonna have so much stuff. But realizing that one day is not in the future. One day is now. Here now I'm gonna take action. You don't need to have $1 million home to start that. You can live in an apartment. You can live in a trailer. I used to live in a trailer and I loved it. And I want to go back to live in a trailer. because you can keep your space that you think in your mind the way you want it now. Don't wait until one day. And when you start taking actions that way, God will continue to expand that vision. Those blessings will continue to come because now you made room, not just in your home, but you're making room here. You're making room here. And when you do that, more blessings can come in. You don't need to no longer be begging God, God, please give me this. God, please give me that. Because now you showing the Creator, I'm ready. I made room for you. I made room for the next blessing that you're going to bring in my life. You're no longer begging. Now you're taking actions. And your actions coming from being in that person who wants that change. That is painful? Yeah, maybe. In some occasions, for me, it was not so painful doing the decluttering, taking a lot of stuff out, donating. I think I donated like a full garage full of clothes, dishes, furniture, TVs, everything. Even my neighbor thought that I was moving out of my home. That just to tell you how much stuff I had in my home. And I decided no more. It was not that painful because I did the process of healing first, emotionally, healing this to be able to take the action. And that's why in the past episode, I shared with you that it's important on what we think in our mind because depends on what we think here is the action that we're going to take. And that dictate whether that action is going to be easier from a powerful state or it's going to be hard and we're going to feel frustrated. Now I'm thinking about that I'm going to do another decluttering because I feel like we're getting back to that and I don't want to go back to that. I don't want my house to have so much space. I don't want to have so many things. I don't want my closet full of stuff that is just stuff that we don't even use. I want to have the space where the Creator can come and bring me more blessings. Because I want to show Him that I am who I am, not because of the things that I have, but what He's calling me to be, who He said that I am. Change will open the door. Holding your past will block your blessing. So let go of your past and your blessing will show up. I will see you on the next episode. We have so much to share here.